There's nothing wrong with you or them. Hi, I'm Anne-Margaret with this week's Sacred Sunday message to raise the vibration of your body, mind, and spirit. So how much time do we waste looking for what's wrong with us, looking for what's wrong with the world, looking for what's wrong in our partner, in our family, in our sibling, in our parents, and our kids, in the way that things are going on, in the school systems, in the government. I mean, we spend so much time looking for what's wrong. And while this is a very important skill to have, obviously I'm editing a book right now as well, so I know and looking for what might be off is a very important skill to have, and it helps inform us how to get better, it helps us how to grow, but it also can be very crippling if it is overly developed and not balanced by looking for what's right. So thanks for joining me for today's Sacred Sunday message. We're going to go through the traps, both of how we look for ourselves and what's wrong with ourselves, how we look for that in others, what the origin of all of this is, the mental origins, the emotional origins, the chakra origins, and then I'll give you, as promised every single time, I'll give you some little tips and takeaways so that you're able to move through your Sunday and move through the rest of your week with a new perspective that actually empowers you rather than keeps putting the rocks of shame or what's wrong with you or what's wrong with others in your pockets and weighing you down. All right, so let's get started. So all of this comes from this idea of there's something wrong, there's something wrong, there's something wrong. And this can be very crippling anxiety-wise for you as well. It might keep you in your home. It might keep you from pursuing what you love to do. It might keep you from going into a relationship with a deeper and more vulnerable intimacy. And that's the true juice and juju of life, right? Being able to take risks, get outside our comfort zone, because that's the only place that we grow, right? So how do we look at shifting this? Just like when I work with all of my coaching clients or my couples with relationship coaching, it's looking at what's the false belief. The false belief that we have here is that perfection is possible. You know what I mean by that? You perfectionists out there, are you thinking that perfection is possible? Are you feeling like, oh gosh, if I just did this, if I just did that, then everything would be great. Everything would be perfect. Everything would be fine. Or if my partner could just do A, B, and C. Or if the world was just this, then we'd be great. We'd be perfect. All right, so this is a false belief. Perfection is impossible. Sorry if I'm breaking this to you for the first time. Part of being human and being in this human earthly reality, this existence, is being in an imperfect body, mind, soul, world, systems, hierarchy, etc., relationships, families. It's part of being in this imperfect world. So where did this pattern come from? All right, the pattern of looking for what's wrong in ourselves, others, and circumstances. There are emotional origins to this pattern, this belief system that, perfection is possible, and then the pattern of looking for everything that's wrong. The emotional origins here can be found in, two different chakras, the root and the crown chakra. And why this is applicable to the chakras is that when you look at the mental origins, we have a rejection of being human, right? We have a rejection of things being imperfect, things being messy. And that comes from a rejection of just what it is to be human. But then we also have a rejection of oneness. When we look for it in others, like others should be better than they are, and then we get really annoyed, we get angry by it, we get really put off and feelings of betrayal or that they don't love us. We make some conclusions about other people based on their humanity. And it's something that they can't escape, but something that we can't escape either. So the root chakra, accepting that this is the human plane that we're living in right now, and also accepting that crown chakra, that connection to oneness, that we all have that, right? We can't have standards for ourselves being different than those around us. In that realm, we have to have compassion for ourselves and also have compassion for everyone else around us, that they are also doing the best that they can. Okay. Now, that's the two mental origins: rejection of being human, rejection of oneness. But then there is also an emotional origin. The emotional origin happens from when we're really little. We're learning what is right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad. And our parents or our authority figures, our caretakers, our teachers are telling us, this is the right answer, that's the wrong answer. This is what will help you be good. This is what will help you be bad. And what comes with that? Reward and punishment. So when we have those reward and punishments, it's that domestication into this world that can really thwart our relationship as adults to ourselves and others. What's the punishment? Usually rejection, isolation, withdrawal of love, withdrawal of compassion or attention. And what's the reward? Pats on the back, love, acceptance, glorification, being seen in the way that we feel uplifted versus crushed. Okay, so that's the emotional origin of this pattern. And there is a survival mentality that perpetuates this false belief system that perfection is possible and this pattern of always looking for what's wrong. The survival mentality is this egoic identification, over-identification with things that are outside of us. So think about something that you constantly get annoyed with that is wrong about you or somebody else, if it's easier. Sometimes it's easier to point it out in others than ourselves, right? But not always. So it's an egoic over-identification, like, this should be this way. This person should behave this way. If not, they're not worth my time. If I don't do that, I'm unworthy of love. I'm unworthy of rest. If I don't work myself to the bone, that's wrong and I don't deserve this. So we have this very weird checks and balances, reward punishment system in relationship to our own humanity. Now let's look at why that doesn't work, because I know out there, this is not working too well, right? And it has to do with our solar plexus, the ego, the over-identification, but also prioritizing egoic needs versus our soul needs, egoic desires versus the soul needs. So why do we do this? We do this in order to gain love, acceptance, power, and also control. And those are all connected to, right, the heart, yes, but more so the ego. We look for what's wrong in ourselves so that we can do something better to feel worthy of love. We look at other people in our lives and we withhold our love or withhold our connection or vulnerability or intimacy with them because we want to control them. We want power over them. We want to make them like us. We want to conform them, okay? We want to feel safe that they're like us rather than celebrating the diversity, rather than celebrating the uniqueness, right, of being human, and also remembering that oneness, that we're all here, we're all connected. We all have a piece of that beautiful spark, right, that namaste teaching. So what doesn't work? Conditional love doesn't work, right? We know not to trust that. We know that this is a false sense of power. We know that it's a destructive relationship to control when we're practicing this. And the flaw in this approach is, we're really pursuing disempowering paths when we're looking for what's wrong or what we're trying to fix in ourselves or others. Now, this doesn't mean that we don't improve, and I'll get to that in a second, so hang tight with that. But when we're looking through the filter of what's wrong with us, it usually carries a very heavy weight of shame. And like I said before, it's almost like every time we look at what's wrong in ourselves or others, that's the tricky thing, it's like picking up a rock and putting it in our pocket every single time. And then every single time we think about what's wrong with us, put another rock. Every single time we look at what's wrong with somebody else, put a rock in our pocket. And after a while, what does it feel like? It feels like a heavy burden. It isn't just about looking for what's wrong with us. It's when we look for that in others, we still carry and channel that same energy. All right, that's so important to remember. So the blind spot that we have here is that we are believing, we have a false belief, we're believing in our and others' unworthiness. Ours and others' unworthiness, our unworthiness, others' unworthiness, that something is not okay with them, something is unworthy of our time, energy, love, acceptance, freedom, etc. So the key to shifting that false reality, the key to shifting our reality is to fall in love with the joy, the adventure of life, the game that this human life is. And to remember that that namaste teaching in yoga that we just casually throw around is recognizing that heart, that love, that God, that divine spark within us all. That's not just in yoga. It's not just in Hinduism or Buddhism. It's in Christianity. It's in Judaism. It's in all of the major world religions, is recognizing God as omnipresent, and shift love, omnipresent, creator, omnipresent in everything. Okay, so that's a huge piece of it. Also, reframing, remembering that nothing is perfect, nor will it ever be. If we can remember that, it's almost like we're going through life as a scavenger hunt, like clues for discovery. Like, what am I going to get out of this experience that will help me learn more about myself? What will I get from this person that will help strengthen my approach to life? Even if it's somebody who feels really negative, somebody feels really toxic or traumatic in your experience, when you shift or you reframe your relationship to them, everything changes. Surrender is also a key component here because of our egoic desire to control ourselves, others, and try and prevent ourselves from being uncomfortable or human, right? Or flawed, right? All of this comes from this desire to control and wanted to dominate others so that we feel safe, egoically safe, not soul safe, right? So that we feel like, okay, everybody's doing what I want them to do, and then I can feel free, okay? This is such a trap. You know what I'm talking about. So the alignment guidance here, how do we look for when we're doing this, and then how do we shift it? The alignment guidance is crucial because whenever we feel upset, when our emotions will inform us, right? Big time. How we're feeling, the emotions that bubble up. So we might be feeling upset. Upset is a very obvious one. We're upset with ourselves or upset with somebody else. But then we can also feel excitement. Oh, when we feel excitement, it's like, oh yeah, now we're on to something. Our emotions will tell us where the X is that marks the spot where we need to dig. What is not being accepted, what is being rejected, what is under a false belief of projection or just a dysfunctional way of relating to ourselves, others, God, life, etc. Okay, so taking a look at, now personalizing this for yourself, if you look at how you are treating yourself, and you look at something like, oh, well, this is what I'm finding wrong with me, okay? If you're seeking flaws, right, you're putting those rocks in your pocket, and this is dimming your radiance. It's dimming your radiance, your life force, your energy, and it really traps you in suffering. So this is not about just thinking you're perfect, right? That's a delusional belief. It's accepting your humanity. It's accepting this scavenger hunt, this adventure, this game of moving through life and learning more and more and more about yourself every single day. And it really dims your light. It's like, I can't shine. I can't be free unless I'm perfect. Good luck with that. So when you're putting it towards others, you're trying to find what's wrong or point out what's wrong in others. And that's just a projection of how you feel about yourself, right? So when people are doing that to you, go into your heart, have compassion. They are suffering, they're angry, they're enraged. That's what they're projecting onto others. So that'll help you when you're feeling attacked. But when you're doing it, because we all do it, we're human, right? We're never going to be perfect. When we're doing that and finding fault with others or making others wrong, this blinds you, of seeing their true self, seeing their gift to you. It's almost like when you're looking for what's wrong, that's all you see in yourself and others, right? So when you're looking at what's wrong in somebody else, you're missing their gift to you. It's like going to a hardware store. You guys have heard me use this metaphor a lot. Going to a hardware store and being really pissed off that they're not selling milk. Okay, it's a hardware store. The owner will look at you like you have 3 heads and say, we've got nails, wood, we've got all of these different things that you need to build a home. We don't sell milk. Go down there. They sell milk. Well, no, there's something wrong here. You should be selling milk. No, they don't. So if we look at our relationships in the same way, and I'm going over this pretty quickly, but you'll get it. If we look at our relationships in the same way, oh, this is my mother. She should be carrying milk. Or this is my father. He should be blah, 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 right? Or my sister or brother or kids or partner, right? We are looking to have something that is not real, and we're setting ourselves up for disappointment. We're wanting to buy that milk at a hardware store, and we're missing all the beautiful things that that person offers us. All right? This traps us in egoic suffering. We are projecting what should be. We're projecting what should be about ourselves, others, the world, rather than looking at everything and saying, okay, what's magical about this? What can I be in awe of? What can I extract from this experience that will add to my excitement, my love for life, love for self, love for others, love for God? So let's look at some remedies here. So a question that we can ask is, am I looking for what's wrong or am I looking for what's right? Am I looking for God in everything? Am I looking for beauty, love, brilliance, strength in everything? Or am I looking for the flaws? Am I looking for what I can dominate or point out or criticize? So ask yourself, what am I looking for? What am I looking for? What's my filter? Okay? Second thing we can do is the lesson. Look at everything as a teacher. Every disappointment, every person, every trauma, every challenge you face, every boulder that's in your path. What am I learning from this? And this is hard because when we look at somebody who's attacking us in some way, they have a strength that we don't. And it might be something that we need to strengthen in ourselves, like maybe more assuredness, or maybe asserting yourself in a more direct way. Maybe you tend to not use your voice as much. Now, I'm not saying you go and you try and be like them and try and destroy other people too. Like maybe they're in a very aggressive way of approaching you. But they have a strength that you can learn from. Like, how can I pull a little bit more of a self-assuredness there? How can I pull a little bit more confidence? How can I pull a little bit more belief in self or faith in myself? You know, it can be anything, but look for the teacher in the other, because we all have something to teach one another, and we can get in a very slippery slope of, well, I'm just going to learn from them what not to do. That's a very egoic, judgmental, critical place, and then you're going to feel the judgment of what's wrong with them still. That's still asking what's wrong with them. That's still seeing what's wrong with them. So look for what's right. Like, what's their superpower? What's their strength? Everybody has a strength around us that we can learn from. Every single person might be out of balance in them. Okay, fair enough. But it's out of balance in us too. So how can we strengthen more and get ourselves more into balance? So the lesson, what am I learning? The third thing is practice. Are you practicing the critical mind? Can you instead practice marveling? Can you because gratitude, everybody's like, practice gratitude, practice gratitude, practice. Yes, I agree. Gratitude is very powerful. But how quickly can gratitude change or invert into shame? You should be thankful. You should be grateful. There is a very easy flip-flop of gratitude because it's so overly used right now. So I want to tell you instead of practicing gratitude, can you practice in marveling? Can you practice in being in awe? Like, wow, this is so challenging. Wow, this is an amazing aspect of my life. Wow, look at the bird. Look at the beautiful aspects of nature. Wow, look at the gift that this person is to me because they're challenging me. Marveling rather than that gratitude. Try it out. Give it a shot. Notice if when you go to gratitude that it flips and inverts into shame. And then, right, that brain filter. What are we looking through? Seek the miracles, the lessons, the God in everyone, that divinity. Seek that in others. Einstein said it best. He said, don't wait for miracles. Your whole life is a miracle. Don't wait for them. Your whole life. That's the filter, is seeing, is filtering, is practicing that marveling rather than the gratitude. Oh, I'm so grateful for being in awe of all the miracles in your life. And he also said there are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle, and the other is as though everything is a miracle. So once again, these remedies to looking for what's wrong, here it is. Question, what am I looking for? Secondly, what am I learning? The lesson. The third thing, practice, marveling. And that brain filter, am I seeking those miracles? What am I seeking? What's the filter through which I'm looking? Okay? Remember, there's nothing wrong with you. Are there areas for growth? Certainly. But remember your perspective, how you're seeing things, how you're receiving things from others, how you're receiving aspects about yourself and the world around you is a very, very powerful tool when used correctly, and very destructive and disempowering tool if used incorrectly. All right, guys, keep going. You're doing great. Know that I have the women's circle coming up. I think it's on when's the next women's circle? On the 14th. We're doing a group channeling session on the 7th if you want to experience that. And if you need direct one-on-one help, just reach out to me directly, or if you want to do some couples relationship coaching, I love that too. So reach out, and until next time, keep raising the vibration, everybody. It's so critical in your own life and the life of others. Okay, bye everybody.